and welcome to this episode of Batavia Spotlight, where we get to know more about community organizations and businesses here in Batavia and in our local communities. I'm Ellen Huxtable, your host, so let's get started. Our very first guest today is Liz Eakins, the Executive Director of Lazarus House. So thank you for joining us today, Liz.
Thank you for the invitation.
So for people that don't know, tell us, what is Lazarus House and what do you do?
Lazarus House is a homeless shelter, transitional living program, and series of outreach programs. We serve the communities of Batavia, Geneva, St. Charles, and what we call Western Rural Kane County, which is all the farm communities west of Route 47, but in Kane County. We are located in downtown St. Charles, just a block off of Main Street off of Route 64. We also have what we call a food-only program. So for those that are living in our communities that might be struggling to feed their families but yet are in their own housing, they are welcome to come for 3 meals a day and join Lazarus House as one of our guests.
So what is the source of your funding?
The source of our funding is varied. We first of all, are in Lazarus House serving our communities as a result of the goodness of our community. So a great deal of our funding comes through donations and the kind-hearted people that support us. We also receive a great deal of funding from state and federal agencies that support us in the form of grants. We also apply and are successfully funded annually by different private foundations. So we have a very widely varied funding base.
And so from this base, who are the people that you serve and how do they find you?
The people that we serve are the homeless or those at risk of homelessness who reside in our communities. Again, Batavia, Geneva, St. Charles, Western Rural Kane County. People find us from a variety of sources. Usually it's by word of mouth. That word of mouth can come from either one of our partnering agencies. We have over 50 other service providers that we support and partner with throughout the communities. We also are strongly supported by area churches. So many of our faith communities will refer to us. In addition, we work very closely with our school districts. So we receive quite a few of our referrals, especially with families, from social workers and other staff at any of our community districts. People could also find us as a result of going online and visiting our website, which is at www.lazarushouse.net. Phone calls, we probably take about 2,000 phone calls every year in just giving out referrals and for people seeking services. So phone calls could be made to our main number, which is 630-587-2144, or our outreach number, which supports our emergency assistance and rent subsidy programs, and that number is 630-587-5872.
And so how many people are you able to serve? Because it's a residential program for many people. So how many people are you able to serve in each of your programs?
This year, we have been serving on average about 46 people per day on site. In addition, we are supporting around 70 to 80 individuals that are in their own housing in the communities, but receive support through us via one of our rent subsidy or emergency assistance programs, where we use our grant money to support and subsidize people's rents to allow them the ability to maintain their housing and stay housed without having to come into shelter. Our capacity, we're always at capacity in our rent subsidy programs, and usually there's a wait list. However, in shelter, our numbers can go as high as 80 people per day that we would serve on site. We normally don't see those numbers that high, but I can say that historically over the past 8 years or so, we have seen numbers that high as a result of the recession that we found ourselves in the midst of. But these days, around 45 to 50 is what we serve on average daily.
So if there's somebody, at least currently, who's in need, and they don't have a place to stay, that you actually are able to accommodate them if they meet the criteria that you have.
Absolutely. We ask that people have a community connection. A community connection means that in the last 2 years they've resided in one of the towns that we serve, or they're currently employed in one of those towns, or their kids attend school in one of the districts that we support. Also, if they have a parent or a brother or sister that lives in one of our communities, that would be a community connection as well. So we have a formal intake process. People come to our doors and they meet with one of our case managers whose role it is to partner with those that have found themselves homeless and then help start peeling back the layers of the onion, so to speak, to try and work with them to see what brought them to our doors and see what we can do together to make sure that it's a one-time event. For those that are struggling to maintain their housing, what they would do is call us, and our intake caseworkers and outreach will work with them to determine if there's any eligibility for any of the programs that we might currently have funding for.
So one of your very big services is to be a resource.
It really
to help
is.
people find the resources that they need that you know about, but that somebody might not know about, just being in that situation.
Absolutely. Again, those 2,000 calls annually that we receive, any one of our staff are very well versed in what our partnering agencies do in the communities. And it might not be that they need to come into a homeless shelter, but what can be done to best support them exactly where they're at, but to make sure that things don't fall apart any worse than what they are.
And how can somebody volunteer to help you? How can
Just call our main number, 630-587-2144. Again, go to our website, www.lazarushouse.net. And we hold volunteer orientations about every 6 weeks. You can sign up online, give us a call, ask for our volunteer coordinator. There are a million ways that people can help. If it wasn't for our communities, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing. All of our consumables, all of our cash donations are all coming from our communities. And when I say consumables, we don't purchase any of our cleaning products, any of our paper products, our linens, personal hygiene supplies. Those are all supplied by volunteers and donors in the community. The same with meals. We serve 3 meals a day. Our guests don't leave at 7 in the morning and come back at 7 at night. For those that aren't employed, we ask that they stay with us during the day to work with their case manager. So we have 3 very bountiful meals per day, and all of that is supplied by the goodness of the communities.
Liz, thank you so much for telling us about Lazarus House. I hope people that are in need of your services find you, as well as the people that are able to support you financially or through volunteerism. So thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for this opportunity. I'm grateful. Thank you.
And now we'll take a brief time out to hear from one of our sponsors. We'll be back in a moment.
Hi, I'm Tom Wangler, president of Confident Air. Regular maintenance can prolong the life of your furnace and keep your energy costs to a minimum. Plus, there's less of a chance of a breakdown on a cold winter night. Your furnace needs proper care and attention to keep it running smoothly, so you don't end up paying too much for heating during the cold winter months, or worse yet, with deadly carbon monoxide poisoning. We recommend an annual inspection to ensure safe operation. Confident Air, your trusted home comfort professionals since 1992.
The Drendel & Jansen's Law Group has practiced law in Aurora since 1961 and in Batavia since 1994.
We focus our energy on representing people and businesses and families in the local community.
We represent clients in Kane and surrounding counties in matters ranging from divorce to wills, business law to zoning.
We focus our efforts on planning and working towards positive resolutions for businesses and families.
When clients need someone to fight for their interests, we're ready, willing, and able to act as aggressive advocates to protect their interests.
Drendel & Jansen's Law Group with offices in Batavia and Aurora and located on the web at batavialaw.com.
Welcome back. Our next guest is Katie Yerkowitz, the Communications Director at Fermilab. And Katie, we're so glad to have you with us today.
Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm happy to be here.
Well, for those who might not know all of the wonderful things that are at Fermi, can you give us a brief description of what Fermilab is about and what you do out there?
I'd be happy to. So Fermilab is a world-renowned physics laboratory located right here in Batavia. We have been around for 50 years. We've been celebrating our 50th anniversary this year, and we are a hub for people from 50 countries who come to Fermilab to use our facilities, our particle accelerators and our particle detectors to do their scientific research.
And I know you have many, many things that are percolating now. These experiments take a long time to develop. So what are some of the things that you have in the works?
Sure. So our flagship area of research these days are little tiny fundamental particles called neutrinos. These are particles that are all around you. While you sit here, trillions of them are passing through your body, but they're not doing anything to you. They are harmless particles, but because they're so abundant in the universe and we know very little about them, it's lots of scientists all around the world are building very big and very sophisticated pieces of apparatus. We call them experiments to study them. Fermilab has been studying these particles actually since the beginning of the lab back in the early 70s. And today we operate one experiment that sends these particles from Fermilab in Illinois up to northern Minnesota and studies them in both places. We also study them on site in Illinois, and we just broke ground on a huge experiment that's going to send these particles from Fermilab in Illinois to South Dakota. So there was an underground groundbreaking a mile under the earth in a physics lab there where we're going to be building a really, really huge experiment to study more neutrinos.
Now, Fermilab is somewhat unique in that it is relatively open to the public, to people to come and visit. Can you tell us about some of the ways people can come and visit and learn more about Fermilab? Because you have a lot of programming that people might not know about.
Yes, so as a laboratory that is funded by the federal government, one of our obligations, and it's an obligation we very much enjoy, is to tell the public, kids and adults, about what we do at the laboratory. We're funded by the Department of Energy, and they really value us having a great relationship with our local community. So we have a science education center on site that's open 6 days a week from Monday to Saturday, and families can stop in there during the day, 6 days a week, to learn more about the kind of science we do. There's also a whole suite of programming for children. Lots of school field trips go to Fermilab as well. And for families and adults, we have a suite of other programs, including drop-in tours every Wednesday, programs the first Sunday of every month in the afternoon, as well as a lot of other types of activities. And you can find out about all of these activities by going to events.fnal.gov. That's our event website.
Beyond the physics, you have a lot of other things going on. You have an artists program, and you have the bison.
Yes, we do. The bison are by far our most popular tourist attraction. So every spring we have anywhere from about 10 to 15 baby bison. We maintain a herd of about 20 bison on site. And people love to come and take a look at them safely from behind the fence, take photos. They were brought to the site, the original bison were brought to the site by our founding director back in the 60s, who really wanted our laboratory to be a symbol of a place at the frontier of science, and he also wanted to bring a little of the original frontier in terms of the land back to the site as well. So we have bison. We have also spent many years restoring native prairie to the land that Fermilab sits on, our 6,800 acres, and so we have about 1,100 acres of native prairie. We have trails through the prairie as well, and a lot of our educational programs focus on ecology as well as physics.
So if somebody's interested in ecology or biking through Fermilab or hiking through Fermilab,
Absolutely.
all those things are all available. They're all free. The lab is really a relatively open place to be.
Yep, we are one of 17 laboratories that are owned by the Department of Energy across the country, and we are one of the most open labs. We are open 7 days a week, 365 days a year, from basically dawn to dusk, 8 a.m. to either 6 p.m. or 8 p.m., depending on the time of year. And yes, you can take a walk. We have an area where you can train your dogs off leash. But definitely, we encourage people to take self-guided tours. So we have a 16-story administrative building. A lot of Batavia folks will recognize that.
Easy to find.
Easy to find, the tall building you can see from Kirk Road. And you can actually, from Monday to Sunday, you can come in, you can sign in, and you can go up to the 15th floor, where you not only see some exhibits to learn about Fermilab and our science, but you also get a great view of the local area.
And you get a great view of some of the layout of the laboratory, some of the rings, et cetera, that are so critical to your research, et cetera.
Yep, we study the tiniest particles in the universe to learn how everything in the universe comes together and works, and to do that we need some really big equipment, and you can see kind of the outlines of some of that on the lab grounds.
So people sometimes ask, what is the purpose of pure research? Because what you're doing is not something that's going to tell us that we're going to get a better HD TV out of the deal, but are things that we don't even think about in everyday life. So what are some of the things that are the benefits that have come from pure research?
Sure. So as I mentioned, we do study the very fundamental building blocks of matter. And when we discover a new particle, it might be 50 or 100 years before we know what that particle can do for us. But the kinds of technology we have to invent to make these discoveries are what goes into, I would say, everyday life more easily. For example, we use particle accelerators to make particles go really fast so we can study them. And there are more than 30,000 particles at work every day in industry, in medicine, for cancer treatment, for diagnostics. They cure ink on cereal boxes. They actually implant the silicon chips in your phones. And so we are building new and more advanced particle accelerators at Fermilab and starting to work with industry to see how we can transition that to better industrial processes, a more energy efficient society, clean up environmental waste, that kind of thing.
So all of the things that we see as being advances in everyday life had to start somewhere. And they're starting with the pure research, because without the pure research, you would never have the things that we found that are applicable to what we do every day.
Yes, that's true. Research in many areas, whether it be biology or the physics that we do, definitely underlies all the advances that come in our society in terms of technology, those sorts of things.
So if people want to find out more about Fermilab, to investigate the programs that you have, to sign up for a tour, just to find out more, how can they contact you?
So you can give us a call. Our main number is 630-840-3351, or you can visit Fermilab's website at fnal.gov, or you can just Google Fermilab. It'll be the first result.
Excellent. Katie, thank you so much for joining us and telling us about this, and I hope people will take the advantage of this wonderful world-class resource that's sitting in our backyard.
Great. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. And now we'll take a brief time out to hear from some of our sponsors. We'll be right back.
Batavia, Main Street. DowntownBatavia.com.
The Kane County Chronicle is your best source for news and information in print and online in the Tri-Cities and Caneland.
This is Chronicle Country. This is Chronicle Country. This is Chronicle Country.
This is Chronicle Country.
This is Chronicle Country.
Welcome back to Batavia Spotlight. Our next guest is Liza Olivia, the Executive Director of Simply Destiny. Liza, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Tell all of us about what Simply Destiny is.
Simply Destiny is a not-for-profit organization, and we are a dance youth center. We promote suicide awareness and prevention in memory of my daughter, Destiny.
Can you tell us a little bit about the background of how you founded the project?
Yeah, after I lost my daughter, it's been 7 years now. In 2010, my brother was dealing with youth at the time, and he said there was a need. We lost 2 other children that same year, and they were, families that we knew. So he said, we need to do something. So he decided to start a dance team, and we started out with about 6 kids, and we just kept growing from there, word of mouth. We've been going 6 years strong now, and we're up to over 100 kids at any given time.
And so what is the purpose of Simply Destiny? What is your mission in?
Our mission is to promote suicide awareness and prevention and anti-bullying. So we have children ranging in ages from 6 and up. 12 and under, we focus on the anti-bullying. It's becoming so prevalent within the younger kids. So we focus on that with them. We do activities with them, and then we teach them to dance. So it's supposed to be a fun place, but at the same time, we're promoting a message. And then for the kids that are 13 and up, we focus on the suicide awareness element as far as like self-harm and suicidal thoughts. And not everybody that comes in has issues, because that's a common misconception.
Yeah.
We use the ones that don't have issues to be kind of like our building blocks, so to speak, and they're just there to be friends. So the youth center is pretty much just to promote a positive environment for them.
And where are you located?
We are located at 416 High Street in Aurora on the east side.
And how are you funded? Is it by fees to the students or donations, or how are you funded?
Right now, it's a lot of fundraising. We do get personal donations, and just last year we were able to get a couple grants to purchase supplies and things that we needed, like speakers and mirrors and things like that. But a lot of it is through just personal donations and fundraising.
So do the people in your groups, the youth and the children in your groups, do they do performances outside of your own facility?
Yes, we pretty much sign them up for any local event, like festivals or school events. Like every year we do the Posada at East High, which is like the Christmas celebration. We've done Latin night at Oswego High School. So it just anywhere that we can put them on stage, that's pretty much what we do.
So is it a short program that they do? Do they do like 3 minutes or 5 minutes, or do they do like half-hour programs?
Generally, we break them up into groups, like I said, with the smaller and the older ones. So generally it'll be like 15 minutes per team, and then, they each do a selection of dances that they've learned.
So how impactful has this been on the youth? What are the things you're seeing that this has helped the children with and the youth?
There's a lot of things, actually. We have success stories. I have one girl right now that applied for a scholarship through the Dunham Fund, and she got a full ride for an associate's degree.
Wow.
We had another young girl that said, she decided to go back to school and pursue her school. We've had teens that have told us that had it not been for us, they probably wouldn't be here. Actually seeing them graduate and be invited to their graduations for us, those are the wins at the end of the day.
Of the people that you've seen, the children and the youth, what are some of the things that are causing the children to be bullying in their nature, or the older ones to be thinking, unfortunately, suicidal thoughts?
There's so many things. There's a variety of things, really. A lot of it is just fitting in and just feeling accepted. That's the biggest, common factor that we see is, and it could be something as simple as not having school supplies or not having a new outfit for school, and it's sometimes just really hard to hear those stories because you think, that wouldn't bother me, but, for some kids it's very impactful, especially when there's blended families. There's always some kind of issue underlying. For the teen girls, a lot of it has to do with just, I'm not skinny enough, I'm not pretty enough. And, it's really hard to hear, but it really does affect them in ways that they can't explain.
So there's more to this than just what meets the eye. It's a very complex.
Yes.
It's a very complex situation.
Yes, and we offer, outside services as well, like if the families need counseling, we have an after-school snack program, a lunch program throughout the summer, and we have counseling help, tutoring help, and anything that they come to us and they say, this is what I'm going through or this is what I need, like we're finding the resources to be able to assist them so that they don't feel overwhelmed.
So you're very much like a safe spot for them. You're a contact for them. You're somebody, you work to be somebody they can talk with.
Oh yes, we talk with them regularly. We give them our business cards, which we call them the get out of jail free cards. And it has like the suicide prevention hotlines plus all of our personal phone numbers so that in case of emergency, they know who to call.
Now, do you have volunteers? Do you have volunteer opportunities for people?
Oh, more than you could imagine. I am blessed to say that we have a really good volunteer system right now, but we're always in need of help, and there are times where we feel like we're just running in spinning circles, but I'm very grateful for the people that are helping us now.
What are some of the kinds of things that volunteers can do to help you?
The list is ongoing. We're trying to rebuild our website right now, fundraising, grants, just, research, things like that. All of that is vital to us keeping the doors open.
So now if somebody wanted to contact you, either because they have a child or a teenager who might be interested in your program, or they're the teenager themselves, Or if somebody wants to volunteer to help you or learn more, or perhaps be a donor, how do they contact you?
We have various ways. Facebook is one. We do have a Facebook page. We have a website, www.simplydestiny.com, and Destiny is with 2 E's. And then our general phone number, which is 331-643-6001.
So people can find you either on Facebook or the phone or their website. No, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for telling us about Simply Destiny, and I hope that both people who are able to help you, as well as the youth and the children who might benefit from this, definitely look you up and take advantage of this great resource. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
And thanks for tuning in to Batavia Spotlight. Remember, you can watch us on Comcast Channel 17, AT&T UVerse Channel 99, or on our website, www.mybatv.com. You can also go to our YouTube channel, which is BATV 1017. I'm your host, Ellen Huxtable, and we'll see you again next time. If you have any questions or comments, please contact us at 630-937-5413 or email us at info@mybatv.com. Have a wonderful day.